In a quiet suburb, appearances can be deceiving, and behind the well-manicured lawns and friendly smiles lies a darkness that can shatter lives. It all began when a new family moved into the neighborhood. They were charming, friendly, and eager to fit in. To everyone, they seemed perfect. Little did the residents know, they were harboring secrets far darker than anyone could imagine. The Johnsons were the picture-perfect family. The parents, warm and inviting, had two well-behaved children. They quickly became the envy of the neighborhood, hosting barbecues and game nights, where everyone reveled in their charm. "We're so glad to be here. Feel free to stop by any time," the mother had said, her smile radiant. But as weeks passed, whispers began to ripple through the neighborhood. Strange occurrences, disappearances of pets, odd sounds coming from the Johnsons' garage late at night started to unsettle the close-knit community. Sarah, a local single mother, was one of the first to notice something amiss. She would often see the father lurking around the garage, returning home late with an eerie pinch in his hand. "I never see them outside after dark. I hope everything is all right," she confided to her friend at a neighborhood dinner. Her friend shrugged it off, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The Johnsons' charm began to wear thin, strangely whispered. Sensing trouble, Sarah decided to investigate. One night, curiosity got the better of her. She slipped out of her house and crept toward the Johnsons' garage, trying to quiet her racing heart. Peeking through a cracked window, she saw the father. Bloodstained hands busy with something hidden behind a tarp. The unmistakable scent of something foul wafted. "What are you doing in there?" she breathed, fear creeping up her spine. Just then, the father turned sharply toward the noise. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Heart pounding, she silently retreated to the safety of her home, her mind racing with dread-filled possibilities. The next day, Sarah gathered a few neighbors to discuss her concerns. They decided to confront the Johnsons, but upon knocking, they were greeted with friendly smiles and the warm aroma of fresh baked cookies. "Come on in, we're just having a little get-together," the mother called, her eyes shimmering with excitement. Sensing the cheerful facade, Sarah hesitated but didn't want to raise any alarms. But as she stepped inside, a chill washed over her. The house felt unsettlingly cold, and shadows flickered in the corners of her vision. That evening, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of impending. She resolved to take matters into her own hands. The next night, she gathered a flashlight and returned to the Johnsons' home, determined to find answers. This time, she peered through the garage window again. The tarp had been pulled back, revealing a chilling sight. A series of tools stained with dark red, a chalk outline eerily similar to a body marked on the concrete floor. "Oh God, no. What have you done?" she whispered, fear consuming her. Panic-stricken, Sarah raced back home, her heart hammering in her chest. She needed to alert the authorities, but as she reached for her phone, she paused. The front door creaked behind her. The Johnsons stood, smiling, standing in the doorway. "We were wondering when you'd come to visit us again." Sarah froze, sensing the malice hidden beneath their friendly demeanor. I have to go," she stammered, realizing the danger she was in. In a flash, she darted past them, racing down the darkened street, her breath coming in frantic gasps. Behind her, she heard footsteps echoing against the pavement. A sinister chase was underway. She sprinted towards her neighbor's house, desperately bearing on her breath. In the aftermath of horror, quiet can be a signal for something more sinister, lurking just beyond sight. The shadows that once threatened are not easily vanquished. After the shocking revelations of the Johnson family, life in the suburban town began to return to normal. But for Sarah, the scars remained fresh, and she struggled to shake the feeling of unease that loomed over her. "I thought we put all of that behind us, but why do I still feel like something's watching?" she pondered, gazing out her window into the encroaching darkness. Just as Sarah began settling back into her routine, a moving truck arrived next door. A new family was moving into the Johnsons' former home. The new neighbors, the Thompsons, were friendly and eager to connect, but Sarah's instincts told her to be cautious. "We're just looking to make a fresh start," the mother said, her genuine smile failing to ease Sarah's apprehension. Strange occurrences began again. Unexplained noises at night, shadows flickering just beyond her vision, and an unsettling feeling that someone was peering at her from the woods behind the Thompsons' house. "It can't be happening again," she breathed, hands trembling as she recalled the horror of the past. One night, while reviewing her notes about the Johnsons, Sarah caught a glimpse of something moving in the trees. A figure effortlessly blended into the shadows, watching her with its eyes. "Who are you?" she shouted, skimming outside her porch, but the figure vanished into the dark. Conflicted and scared, Sarah confided in Clara about her suspicions. "Maybe it's just someone walking their dog, Sarah. You need to relax," Clara replied, though even she couldn't shake the growing discomfort. But Sarah couldn't dismiss the feeling that their nightmare might be resurfacing. Alarmed, she decided to do some digging into the Thompsons' background, revealing conflicting stories about their past. One evening, Sarah noticed Mrs. Thompson in the backyard, burying something deep in the shadows. Unable to resist her curiosity, Sarah crept closer, hiding behind a tree. "What are you doing?" she muttered under her breath, the weight of suspicion making her pulse quicken. To her horror, Mrs. Thompson placed a small, tattered doll on the ground, the same kind that had once haunted the townsfolk. The next day, Sarah and Clara decided to investigate the woods behind the Thompsons' house, hoping to find answers. As they entered the trees, they stumbled upon an old, rusted swing set, overgrown and forgotten. "It feels like someone walked away from this place, like something happened," Clara said, her eyes scanning the area. A sudden rustle in the bushes sent both of them jumping back. They turned to see the shadowy figure lurking at the edge of the trees again, watching silently. The pair returned home and agreed to confront the Thompsons together. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, they knocked on their door, stealing their nerves. "Oh, hello. We were just getting to know the neighborhood," she replied cheerfully, but an unsettling vibe clung to her eyes. As they chatted, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that Mrs. Thompson was hiding something. After the brief encounter, Sarah began connecting the dots: missing pets, the return of the doll, and the shadowy figure. In the remnants of broken trust, whispers grow louder, and darkness seeps into the seams of everyday life. The true horror often resides in the unspoken truths and those who linger in the shadows. Following the chilling revelations about the Thompsons, an unsettling calm settled over the neighborhood. Sarah and Clara remained vigilant, convinced that the true horror was yet to unfold. "Every time I see them, I get this dreadful feeling. They're hiding something," Sarah confided to Clara, as the two sat in their favorite cafe. As rumors began to swirl around the neighborhood, more residents reported strange occurrences. Muffled voices coming from the Thompsons' basement and shadows flitting past windows and aisles. "What if we're not the only ones who sense something? Others need to take this seriously," Clara urged, while they watched the Thompsons from a distance. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah suggested they sneak into the Thompsons' backyard during the night, hoping to catch a glimpse of what was truly going on. "If we can find evidence, we can finally show everyone what's been happening," she replied. Under the cover of darkness, they crept into the yard. The air was thick with tension, and every sound made them jump. Exploring the yard, they spotted a small, overgrown path leading to an old shed that looked untouched for years. It felt like the perfect place for secrets to hide. "Do you think we should look inside?" Clara asked, her voice trembling slightly. "We have to. This might be our only chance," Sarah replied as she pushed the creaky door open. Inside the shed, the sight was chilling. Dim light revealed old, dust-covered toys and a series of photographs pinned to the wall. Pictures of the previous families who had lived in the Thompsons' house, each with a horrific backstory scribbled beneath. "This can't be real. Look at what happened to them," Clara exclaimed, her hands trembling as she flipped through the photographs. The photographs held stories of misery and disappearances. It was becoming clear that the Thompsons had a dark history stretching far beyond their seemingly innocent facade. As they left the shed, they suddenly heard footsteps behind them. The figure of Mr. Thompson emerged from the shadows, his expression ominous. "What are you doing here?" he demanded, stepping closer, the shadows flickering around him. "We know where you're hiding," she shouted, trying to keep her fear at bay. Mr. Thompson's eyes hardened, and a sinister smile crept across his face. "You have no idea what darkness you're dealing with," he taunted, stepping closer, a menacing presence that sent shivers down her backs. Instead of backing down, Sarah stood her ground, feeling Clara at her side. With a swift move, the two friends turned and ran, dashing through the woods towards Sarah's house. The thrill of fear and adrenaline coursed through them as they raced away from the danger. "We can't let him intimidate us. We need to gather everyone and warn them," Clara panted as they reached safety. That evening, Sarah and Clara called an emergency meeting with their neighbors. Convincing them of the Thompsons' dark past was a challenge, but the growing unease among them helped. The echoes of the past reverberate through the corridors of time, stirring old nightmares and awakening buried secrets. In a world where darkness lurks in the corners of memory, the bravest must confront what they fear most. In the wake of the showdown with the Thompsons, the neighborhood breathed a sigh of relief. However, the shadows from their dark past continued to loom, and the community struggled to restore a sense of peace. "We may have saved ourselves, but the scars run deep. We need to heal as a community," Sarah expressed, looking over the faces of her neighbors as they gathered. Desiring closure, Sarah, Clara, and a few others organized a community event to share stories and experiences, hoping to purge the lingering fear. But during this gathering, a chilling reveal came to light. This neighborhood has always had its shadows. We can't ignore the history buried beneath our homes, the elderly man cautioned, his voice filled with dread. This sparked curiosity among the townsfolk. That evening, the townsfolk gathered in the lecture hall, eager to learn. The elder revealed a forgotten tale, a series of gruesome events that occurred decades ago, involving a string of disappearances linked to the original settlers. They say a spirit of vengeance haunts these woods, an entity avenging those who wronged it, he stated, eyeing the surrounding crowd solemnly. The story sent shivers through the audience, igniting fear and curiosity. Old photographs displayed images of families lost to the shadows of time. Days turned into weeks, and while the fear of the Thompsons faded, new reports began to surface, missing pets and strange symbols appearing in the woods. "It feels like the darkness is trying to reclaim its hold on us," Clara whispered to Sarah, a deep unease settling between them. "We have to investigate this before it grows worse. We can't let fear dictate our lives again." With resolve, Sarah and Clara set off into the woods, armed with flashlights and a sense of purpose. They felt drawn toward the very areas where the old tales suggested vengeful spirits might roam. As they ventured deeper, they stumbled upon an old, decrepit cabin, hidden among the underbrush, a forgotten relic of the past. "Is this the original cabin from the stories?" Clara asked, her heart racing with anticipation and dread. Venturing inside, the darkness felt alive, heavy, as if it were anxiously awaiting their arrival. Shadows danced on the walls, whispering tales of lost souls. Old furniture lay strewn about, and in the corner, Sarah found a journal. The journal was filled with sketches and writings from someone tormented by fear, recounting the struggles against an unseen evil. The Watcher lurks near the trees, drawing on the fears of all who enter. We must escape before it claims us, she read. With the truth pouring out of the pages, Sarah and Clara raced back to the community, determined to warn the townsfolk about the resurrected threat. We can't ignore this anymore. We must confront whatever is hiding in the woods before it's too late. Fear and confusion rippled through the community, some dismissing the tales as legends while others felt the grip of dread tightening. As unease spread, more strange events surfaced. A figure seen lurking at night, familiar children's laughter echoing eerily through the trees. The townsfolk decided to form a search party to face whatever entities lurked among them. Armed with flashlights, protective charms, and old legends, they bravely entered the woods together. Stay close. We'll do this together, just like we faced the Thompsons, she urged. In a town where shadows hold the remnants of unspeakable memories, the past resurfaces, threatening to unravel the fragile tapestry of safety that binds the present. After the harrowing confrontation with the dark forces in the woods, the town of Eldermere sought peace. But beneath the surface, whispers of the past stirred, hinting at something more sinister lurking in the shadows. I thought we sealed the darkness away. Why does it still feel like something's watching us? Sarah shared with Clara as they prepared for the annual Fall Festival, a tradition meant to celebrate their community's rebirth. The festival began with excitement and hope, but an unexpected guest arrived, a traveling medium with a grim reputation. She claimed to possess the ability to communicate with the spirits of the town, warning of unfinished business. The spirits linger, restless and searching for resolution. There are echoes of the lost among you, she proclaimed, her eyes scanning the crowd. Her presence stirred unease. And even as attendees expressed skepticism, the whisper of uncertainty slid through the festival like a chill. That night, the townsfolk gathered for a seance led by the medium, hoping to connect with those lost in the shadows. Sarah hesitated, but ultimately agreed, drawn by her unresolved feelings toward the darkness they had faced together. We need to know if there are still spirits in pain. We can help them find peace, Clara reassured her. As they sat in a dimly lit room, the air grew thick with tension, and the medium began to speak to the spirits, calling forth the echoes of the past. As the seance progressed, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The medium's voice took on a deeper, more ominous tone. Voices and images flashed through the air, lost memories surfacing with clarity, revealing the faces of those who had disappeared before. They want to be remembered. They seek justice for the wrongs done to them, she cried out, her hands shaking. The crowd gasped as one name echoed through the space, a name that struck fear into the hearts of those who had been haunted by the town's dark past. Sarah raced home that night, haunted by the visage of the victims. What did the medium know about their secrets? Determined to uncover the truth, she and Clara revisited the old journal found in the cabin, seeking clues that would unravel the mysteries of it. There has to be something linking these names to the Johnsons and the Thompsons, she mused, flipping through the pages filled with accounts. As they investigated, they stumbled upon new pieces of evidence suggesting that an underground cult had thrived decades prior, connected to the unsolved disappearances. Through their research, Sarah and Clara learned of a hidden meeting place rumored to hold relics of the cult. Armed with flashlights and courage, they ventured into the woods again, hoping to uncover what the spirits were reliving. What if we find things we're not meant to see? Clara whispered, her heart racing as they approached the clearing. In the shadows of remembrance, old hauntings resurface, and the courage of the living is tested. Amidst the bonds of friendship, darkness seeks to reclaim its hold. After the harrowing rituals that brought peace to the restless spirits, the town of Eldermere enjoyed a fragile calm. Families began to reconnect, and the fear that once gripped the community slowly faded. Yet for Sarah and Clara, the past shadow never truly vanished. "I feel like we're just waiting for the next storm to hit," Sarah confessed to Clara as they walked through the rejuvenated streets adorned with autumn decorations. As the town prepared for the winter festival, strange occurrences began to plague the community. Objects moved without explanation, and cold drafts where the air should have been still. It's like the spirits are trying to communicate again. But why now? Clara pondered, her brows furrowed with worry. But underlying all the uncertainty, whispers circulated about the Thompsons, hinting that their connection to the supernatural may not have been completely severed. Sarah's instincts kicked in once more. She decided to visit the Thompsons' old house, now empty and soon deserted. With Clara by her side, she felt the weight of nostalgia mixing with dread. They entered the house, memories flooding back, but the air felt charged, tinged with a sense of fear. "I don't like this. There's something here that doesn't feel right," Clara whispered, looking around at the unsettled silence. As they explored, they found remnants from the Johnsons and the Thompsons eras. A dusty, old diary tucked beneath a floorboard, containing frantic entries that spoke of a presence grown stronger, tormenting the families from the shadows. "It watches from the woods. At night, it whispers my name. I can feel its hunger," she read, the fear creeping in her voice as she absorbed the dire record of a house's slow descent into madness. With this discovery, the unease escalated, and Sarah insisted they seek the elder's guidance again, hoping he could shed light on the diary's revelations and the lingering darkness. "We need to understand what this means. The townspeople deserve to know," Clara urged, her determination renewing. They met with the elder, who listened intently and confirmed their fears. The haunting had not ended. It merely lay dormant. Just when Sarah and Clara thought they had a hold on the terminal, a new family moved to town. A family strangely reminiscent of the Thompsons. The resemblance unnerved them, fueling their growing paranoia. "We can't let this happen. We need to keep a close watch on them," she insisted, turning to Clara as they observed the newcomers settling into the neighborhood. The new family seemed friendly, but shadows danced in the background as whispers of old legends began resurfacing from the townsfolk about the curse of the woods. "It's just a myth, right? Shadows don't come back," someone remarked at the town get-together, but others shifted nervously. Tensions flared as the community grappled with whether to embrace the new family or keep them at arm's length, reigniting fears of the past. Sarah and Clara couldn't ignore their instincts. They set out to investigate the new family, their thoughts racing with all the connections to previous horrors. In the stillness of night, hidden darkness stirs, threatening to unearth sins long buried. As old wounds reopen, the town of Eldermere must confront the shadows that dwell beneath the surface. With the looming threat of the new family hanging over Eldermere, Sarah, Clara, and their friends band together. Despite their united front, an unsettling feeling of dread permeates the air, amplified by whispers of distress. "If we don't keep our eyes open, we could be making the same mistakes all over again," Sarah stated, her resolve hardened as they gathered. As fear spread throughout the town, Sarah and Clara began investigating the new family. They discovered that they had moved in under unusual circumstances, a hasty departure from their last home, and unsettlingly vague explanations for their past. "We have to dig deeper. They might be hiding something monumental," Clara insisted, her determination reignited as they stacked documents and old newspaper articles on the kitchen table. The annual Fall Festival approached, an event once meant to celebrate their community's resilience, but now marked by a growing sense of foreboding. Sarah, Clara, and their friends felt the weight of what was at stake as they prepared for the event. It used to feel so safe, so joyous. Now, it feels haunted, she mused, holding a pumpkin as if trying to revive the festivity spirit. As the festival commenced, a chilling series of events unfolded. The new family's children roamed freely, eerily reenacting the same games and stories that had once captivated the town long ago. Games with darker undertones that left the townsfolk unsettled. Why are they playing those games? It's like they're mocking us, one neighbor remarked, visibly shaken by the children's unsettling laughter. After a chilling encounter with the family's children, Sarah and Clara decided to confront the new family. A direct approach to uncover their intentions felt necessary, as curiosity grew more from urgency. We have questions, and we expect answers. What's happening under our noses? She asserted, feeling a mix of rage and fear as they knocked on the family's door. The new family welcomed them inside with a chilling smile that sent shivers down Sarah's spine. As they entered, the atmosphere altered, growing heavier with tension and whispers. "We've just been getting to know everyone. Isn't that what neighbors do?" he asked, the words laced with an undercurrent of something darker. "We're not buying the charade. What did you do?" Clara accused, her voice firm. Their confrontation escalated, with Mr. Thompson's smile fading to a cold stare. The layers of deception began to peel away, revealing hints of anger and control. The couple revealed their connection to the cursed history of the town, expressing their intent to reclaim what they deemed rightfully theirs. "You don't understand the power we can wield. This town belongs to those who dare to remember." Outraged by the revelation, Sarah and Clara fled from the house, rallying the townsfolk for an emergency meeting. They needed to unite against the sinister undertones that threatened to consume them all. "We cannot let them take our home from us. We must stand and fight," she proclaimed, gripping Clara's hand tightly as the tension in the group rose. As night fell, the town gathered in the center square, determination in their eyes.